Hello and welcome. I am Saurav Agarwal and today we are going to talk about data types in Python. But before going ahead, an important reminder. This is the first video of our September 30 series which with the theme of AI for all. You remember, we are going to talk about an important data science machine learning topic each night sharp at 7:30 p.m. and I am going to post a question for all of you. Those who are going to answer most of them correctly, every 2 weeks we are going to conduct a live interaction wherein we are going to discuss about the happenings in AI, how AI is going to shape the future and where we stand in terms of AI. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do subscribe now, share it with the friends and enthusiasts. Also an important reminder, you have to make the subscriber count reach 100 by 10th of September because a surprise is waiting for you. Now let us begin. Understand that you are going to store a particular item into your cupboard or your almirah, right? You need to make space for that particular item. You haven't received that item yet, but if you don't know the dimensions of that item, how are you going to allocate space for that item? Either the space would be too large or too small to accumulate that item into your cupboard. Now same thing goes with data in any programming language. Data needs to be stored in a certain space in memory. How would the compiler or interpreter know how much space to preserve for that particular variable? This is where data types come into place. Data types help the compiler or interpreter know beforehand how much space to preserve in memory for a particular data that is going to be stored in that variable. Now you understand what data types are? Now in Python, there are primarily 5 broad categories of data types. Numeric types, sets, mapping, sequences and last is Boolean type. So starting with the numeric types are further classified into 3 categories: integers, floating points and complex numbers. By integer we mean all numbers ranging from negative infinity to positive infinity which are without any decimal, right? For example, -2, 3, 100, 150, 19, 0, all these are integers, whereas floating point numbers are real value numbers with decimal point or represented as a scientific notation using e. For example, 1e05 which represents 10 to the power 5 or 1.01, -1.09, -100.0, -50.9. All these represent floating point numbers. Complex numbers on the other hand are like a category of mathematical numbers wherein we have a real part and a complex part. The complex part is denoted by j as a postfix. We are not going to use complex numbers much in our day-to-day programming and machine learning stuff, but for mathematical computations these are required in some of the scientific theories. Okay, now going ahead with sets. What are sets? Sets are clusters of distinct items. Whatever you store, say for example you have a bag of balls, red, orange, blue, green, white, all different colored balls and having in different numbers. So sets would store only the distinct items from the entire collection. For example, you have 5 red balls, 3 green balls and 1 blue ball, so it would store red ball, green ball, blue ball without its actual count. Okay, next up we have mapping. Mapping are the dictionary types. They have key value pairs wherein you store a key and its corresponding value. Mapping helps us locate items in order one time. Okay, next we have sequences. Again there are 3 kinds of sequences: strings, lists, tuples. Strings stores characters or set of characters. Strings could be represented as single quotes, double quotes, triple quotes. Double quotes represent triple quotes or single triple quotes represent multi-line strings, wherein strings could span across multiple lines in the entire program or block of code. Okay, you'll find some of the examples attached in the description as well as in the image there. Next we have lists. List contains collection of items which could belong to different data types. First of all, these sequences are non-primitive data types, or we can say it is a collection of primitive data types, such as list could contain integers, floating point numbers, characters, string, a complex multiple collection of it. Okay, now list could contain any number of items, and a list is iterated or traversed using list indexing, which we will discuss as part of a separate video altogether. Also, lists are mutable types, which means if you change the value of a value at a particular index in a list, the entire list doesn't get altered, only the value at a particular location gets changed. On the other hand, tuples are ordered collection of items which are mutable. By mutable we mean if we change any value of a tuple, the entire tuple would change. When we say the entire tuple would change, ideally a new tuple would be created in place of the earlier tuple. Hope you understand the difference between list and a tuple. Lastly, we'll talk about Boolean. Say for example, you want to store a value which is in true or false in nature. For example, are you eligible to vote? The possible values for this question is true or false. This is a Boolean value which stores either true or false as its outcome. Okay, now you understand the 5 different kinds of data types in Python. Here's a question for you. Which of these types is ineligible to be used as a key in dictionary? Okay, let me know the answer in the comment section, and once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel now, do subscribe now. Stay tuned for the next lecture. Bye bye, have a nice day.